question is, if the vertices x r, y r, where r is equals to 1, 2 and 3 of a triangle lies on the curve xy is equals to 1 and xr satisfies the equation x cube minus 2x square plus 7x minus 1 is equals to 0, then find the centroid of the triangle. So technically our question is saying that we have a triangle. Suppose we have the triangle, this triangle, we have this triangle, okay, and the vertices of these triangles are x1, y1, x2, y2 and x3, y3. As the question is saying, r varies with the 1, 2 and 3, so these may be the vertices of that triangle. And this triangle, and so the vertices of these triangles are lying on a curve xy is equals to 1. So here we don't actually need the knowledge of that curve, how that curve is going to be drawn, but for instance I'll draw the graph of xy is equals to 1, but this is not necessary. This does not need your attention that we should first know the curve and then we are able to solve this question. Technically we have to satisfy that the vertices of this triangle will lie on that curve, so that curve will satisfy these points. But let's see what the curve xy is equals to 1 means. So this will be like this. I'm again saying the curve doesn't mean anything to this question. Only the concept is important, that this equation will satisfy these points. Okay, so suppose this is the curve and this curve these points lie on these curves. Okay, so again we come to the question that the vertices x r y r lies on the curve xy is equals to 1. Okay, and further the question is saying that the xr will satisfy the equation x cube minus 2x square plus 7x minus 1. So what does this mean? This means that the root of these equations, sorry, the root of this equation is x1, y1, sorry, not y1, x1, x2 and x3. So roots are x1, x2 and x3, and we have to find the centroid of the triangle. So what is the formula for the centroid of the triangle? For any triangle, suppose this is the triangle, centroid will be sum of centroid is a coordinate, so this will be like x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3 and y1 plus, let's change this position, you might not see it here. So centroid is equals to x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3 and y1 plus y2 by y3 by 3. So this is the coordinate that we are required to find. So only thing we have to do is to find that what will be x1 plus x2 plus x3, and then we will divide it by 3 and then we will get the x coordinate of that centroid. Similarly for the y coordinate we'll do the same. So how are we going to find the answer? All the concept is lying behind this equation. So this is a cubic equation and we know that sum of the roots of the cubic equation is equals to minus b by a. Okay, and sum of product of roots 2 at a time is equals to c by a, and the product of roots is minus d by a. Let me put it on this board. Okay, let's see. So for a cubic equation, ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d is equals to 0, the sum of the roots will be uh, that is, suppose alpha 1 plus alpha 2 plus alpha 3 are the roots. So let's suppose it's not alpha 1 alpha 2, alpha beta gamma, these are the roots. Alpha beta gamma is equals to minus b by a, where minus b is the coefficient of x square and a is the coefficient of x cube, and sum of the roots, sum of the product of the roots, product of the roots two at a time, that will be alpha beta plus beta gamma plus alpha gamma will be equal to c by a. Okay, and the last product of all the roots, product of roots, that will be alpha beta and gamma is will be, this will be equal to minus d by a. Okay, so this should be known to each student, then only we can going to find that centroid. So what is the equation that we have got from the question? That is x cube minus 2x square minus 7x minus, sorry, plus 7x minus 1. So let me write it here, x cube minus 2x square plus 7x minus 1 is equals to 0. So here a is equals to 1, b is equals to minus 2, c is equals to 7, and d is equals to minus 1. So if x1, x2 and x3 are the roots, what will be x1 plus x2 plus x3? That will be equal to minus b by a. Here minus 2 will be my b and 1 will be my a. So on the next slide I should write, suppose x1 plus x2 plus x3 will be equal to minus b by a. Here minus b and a is here, so it is equals to 2. Okay, now sum of product of roots 2 at a time, x1 x2 plus x2 x3, sorry, x2 times x3 plus x1 times x3 will be equal to our c by a. So c is 7 and by 1, and finally x1 x2 and x3 will be equal to minus d by a. Here my minus d is minus 1 and a is 1, that is 1. Okay, so this is as far we have come. Now what is required for the centroid? I mean, if this is a triangle and this is x1 y1, this is x2 y2, and this is x3 y3. So what will be the centroid? The centroid will be x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3 for the x coordinate. So x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3 and y1 plus y2 plus y3 by 3 will be the centroid. So the x coordinate is pretty clear, that x1 plus x2 plus x3 is equals to 2. So this will be 2 by 3. The only thing is left is the y coordinate of that centroid. So what will be y1? We have the knowledge that x1 is x1 x2 x3 are the roots of this equation, but we also know that x1 x2 y1 x1 y1 x2 y2 and x3 y3 lies on the curve xy, that is x1 y1 x2 y2 and x3 y3 lies on xy is equals to 1. Okay, so what will be the y? Y will be 1 by x. So if we have the knowledge of x, we can determine the value of y. So what will be y1, y2, y3? Y1 will be, suppose this is xr, so yr, and this is xr. So this will be, let it do somewhere else. We'll put it finally here. So y1, y2, y3 can be written as 1 by x1, 1 by x2 plus 1 by x3, and this can be written as x1, x2, x3, and similarly x2, x3 plus x1, x3 and x1, x2. Here we know the numerator is the sum of the product of the roots 2 at a time, and hold for a second. Here we know the numerator is the sum of the product of the roots 2 at a time, and the denominator is the product of the roots only. So we know x1, x2 plus x1, x2 plus x2, x3 and x1, x3. Here we have the sum of the product of roots 2 at a time, that will be c by a. So what is our c? Our c is 7 and a is 1. So 7 by 1 will be the numerator, and the denominator will be x1, x product of roots, and that is minus d by a. So minus d is minus d is minus 1, so minus d by a will be 1 only. Let's see, write it properly. This will be our minus of minus, hold it, I think I misjudged something. C is 7, so C is 7. This should not be minus 7, and 7 by 1 by this will be minus d by a, so d is minus 1 and by a1, this will be equal to 7 by 1, that is 7. So we have got the value of y1 plus y2 plus y3 is equals to 7. So the centroid will be, I should write it once more, that's centroid. We have found the x coordinate, that will be x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3 and y1 plus y2 plus y3 by 3, and this is already found 2 by 3, and this will be 7 by 3, because we know y1 plus y2 plus y3 is equals to 7. So this was as simple as it is. This is in front of you. Let's recap it once more. Our question was that there is a triangle with the vertices x, r, y, r, where each vertex can be read as x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, and these vertices lie on the curve xy is equals to 1. Again I'm saying the knowledge of that curve is not necessary for this question. You only have to understand that these points are lying on that curve, so they will satisfy that curve. Okay. Then the xr's are the solution of the equation x cube minus 2x square plus 7x minus 1 is equals to 0. So we have come to this conclusion that if it is a cubic equation, the sum of roots will be this, the product of roots 2 at a time, and their sum is that c by a, and the product of the roots is minus d by a. So according for our question, a is 1, b is minus 2, everything is clear is in front of you. So our only concern was to find x1, x2, x3, sum of x1, x2, x3, that will be minus b by a, and that is 2. Again we had to find y1, y2, y3, so we found it by using the concept that these points lie on the curve xy is equals to 1. So each y can be written as in terms of x, that yr is equals to 1 by xr, and again finally we got that sum as well, and we got the coordinate of the centroid of a triangle which are under these constraints. So I think this is clear to you guys. Thank you for watching this video.